Hi, I'm John, and welcome back to Dice Paper Miniatures. This is a pretty exciting new format for me. Starting this Monday, and hopefully every following Monday, I'll do a recap of the Saturday pre order, the Sunday preview, and the new model Monday that we get to see from the Warhammer community. Yeah, so for this week, we got a chance to see a number of different pre-orders come available. First off, we have Warhammer Underworlds. We actually had two things for Saturday. We had the new starter set, which is a cool addition to the Warhammer Underworlds format because it allows new players as a good entry point to start the game. We also have the new expansion for the Direchasm block. That's for the Crimson Court, and that looks amazing. And then we also had the pre-order for the new Blood Bowl Death Zone supplement, as well as Adeptus Titanicus, and a preview for the new White Dwarf. So with that said, let's begin. All right, so as I mentioned at the start of the video, moving forward, my goal with reviewing content from the Warhammer community will mostly follow this new format, where on Mondays I'll cover the pre-order Saturdays, the previews from Sunday, and then the new models for Monday. That gives me an opportunity to kind of absorb everything that came in over the weekend, and then starting fresh on Monday, jump right in, cover that content, cover some of my experience. For example, I'll have a video talking about my experience with the pre-order of the Cursed City. A little interesting. And then things like that. So keep an eye out for that. But again, the weekend will allow me an opportunity to kind of get my pre-orders in without any delays or distractions, and then get my thoughts collected on that, my thoughts collected on Sunday's previews, and then obviously when GW releases their new model Mondays, I'll just kind of summarize everything on Monday. So moving forward, you should be seeing these types of videos on Mondays. All right. So first off, I want to go ahead and jump into Saturday's pre-order. So this is Monday, and obviously we have some latest news, but if you just scroll down the page a little bit, we'll go ahead into the pre-order. So for this was last Saturday, and for me, I don't always comment on everything on the pre-order, because if it's a game I'm not playing, I don't really see the point of it, typically. So that being said, Warhammer Underworlds has two things coming out actually. So the first is this new two-player starter set. I find this pretty interesting. I do think it's a great value in terms of new players coming into the game. You get a nice box set, two new armies. They look familiar, these sculpts at least. I would have sworn I've seen these before, but I think they might be slightly different with the typical sculpted bases that we see in the underworld stuff. But yeah, really no complaint. It follows the typical format that we've seen in other releases, at least for Shadespire and Night Vault. So yeah, in this release, we're seeing the Stormcast, and then like Night Vault, we're seeing the Night Haunts in this as well. So we got your Stormcast and we have your Night Haunts. Again, I think these are similar, if not pre-existing designs, but they look good. And then what's also interesting, we get these essential card packs. And the way they describe these are every card in this set is universal, so they can be used for all warbands. You can split the pack with a friend to keep them keep them for yourselves. Add these cards to your warband decks to open up new tactics. Exactly. I thought it mentioned, yeah, so this set of 60 card compiles some of the most important objective upgrades and gambits from the entire range of the Warhammer Underworlds into one convenient pack. That's a pretty good deal because, especially if it's from Shadespire and Night Vault, I believe those are no longer available. So if there's neutral cards from those sets, this is a great way of getting those. Personally, I'll probably get this starter set. I don't know if I necessarily need it, but I guess I'm a completionist, and so far I've gotten these. I do think it's a good value. What I do like about this particular two-player starter set, as I understand it, it's set up to where you can just jump right into it. So in fact, it says right here. So um, in this set, you'll get everything you need to play straight away, including 2 warbands, corresponding decks, dice, boards, and plenty of tokens. So yeah, they have like pre-constructed decks from what I understand. And so once you get the general mechanics figured out, then you can kind of go to the next level and build your decks like a normal game of Underworlds would be. So that's pretty cool. Speaking of my past experience in game design and creating an expandable card game, when we were working on our game years ago, that wasn't quite a thing yet. But it's interesting how in the last 3 to 5 years that's become a kind of a common thing now. Now, the other thing that I'm very excited, obviously, I mean, arguably way more excited than the starter set, is this new Crimson Court. I've talked about this before in other videos, but it's finally available for pre-order now. In fact, I'll have a separate video where I talk about uh, more in-depth thoughts of what I think about the mechanics of this warband. So, depending on how you're watching this, you may see that up in the corner, a link to that. That'll be, again, a separate video specifically for the Crimson Court. But yeah, I'm super excited. The aesthetics of this warband, they're awesome. GW knocked it out of the park on this one. In fact, let's go ahead and watch this video just because. I'm going to turn the volume off on it just in case. But yeah, the look of this, what I've read about this so far, again, I'll have that more extended video linked in this video. The other thing I really like about this, I'm excited to use these for my Flesh Eater Courts Warband and Warcry as well. Hopefully they'll have specific rules for these models, but if not, you know, you can always swap them out for different characters in that game as well. Very cool. All right, now, you know, this is entirely player preference at this point. Sometimes I'm a real avid collector of all the different dice sets that come out. This one looks interesting, but I'll probably not get this particular one. But I think if you know, if dice are your thing and you kind of like the death, if you will, I think these are pretty cool dice. They got a cool color combination. It's just I feel like I've kind of overdosed on dice lately, if that's even possible, but that's just me. But I do think these are great. And then they also have some interesting choices for t-shirt options. I like the artwork. I probably would lean more towards this one. I think this makes a better design for a shirt. Not that this is bad. I guess you could go either way, but I particularly like this one. And then what's also pretty cool, if you order products on the web store, which I have mixed feelings on, that's for a separate video. At least currently during the pandemic, orders are so delayed. But hopefully, I guess if you do order through the web store, if that's your only option, especially if that's your only option, at least they're giving you some pretty good incentives. I do think this is a pretty cool incentive. I already have this game, so it doesn't really do much for me. But if you were looking at maybe playing this online, I think it's decent. And if you like Underworlds and you can't play with your friends, this is a good alternative. So that's my 2 cents on it. Again, some of these other web order specific exclusives, I think if they're going to have delayed orders, then having something else like this is nice. But I would just like to get my stuff on time, and that would be amazing. But, you know, whatever. So now another thing that will probably warrant a separate video, so look for that link as well, is the new Death Zone for Blood Bowl. I am really looking forward to this expansion or supplement, if you will. So it's going to have, you know, the latest edition of Blood Bowl is getting its first supplement, plus a full set of accessories for the teams initially found in the second season. That part I don't I mean, that's cool, but I think the value is so good in that box set. I'd probably just get another box set if you really wanted some extra teams and team related stuff, and then just sell the other, what you don't want. But I get it. If you don't want to mess with that, then this is the way to go. But in any event, this Death Zone book, I'm really excited about. Like I said, I'll have more thoughts on that, so look for that in a separate video. But this is cool. One of the things they talk about in the new Death Zone is this their sevens format. Again, that's one of the things I'll talk specifically about in a separate video. But I'm really curious how that will play out. And then, of course, the new Spike magazine, which features more of the content for the Imperial Nobility team and the Black Orcs team. So that's cool. I tend to pick these up. So I did pre order this actually. So what I specifically pre ordered was the Death Zone and then the Spike as well. I didn't catch this the first time, but they also have a Compact Sevens pitch that's available for pre order. I may have to go back and get that. We'll see in that next video I talk about if I do that or not. But anyways, the teams, I felt like I didn't need to optimize my team anymore by buying a second team like historically I'd have to do with Blood Bowl. So I may have to consider that. I kind of dismissed it because I'm currently making a separate video where it's the full assemble the second season box set, priming it, painting all the different steps involved with that. More of a speed painting video, even though the video is taken like over a month now. But that's also a separate video coming out soon. What has kind of delayed that, which is also another video, is I'm customizing the orc, not the orc, the ogre for the Imperial Nobility team to make it look more like it fits with the team. And that's requiring like a lot of green stuff. And I'm also doing some custom casting as well. So that'll be an additional to that or supplement to that video, but it's technically its own video. So a lot of things in the works right now. And that's kind of why my video consistency release has been a little lacking as of late, but that'll start getting back to normal here soon. But that all being said, while I may not get another team to kind of tweak my existing team, I love this model. Varag is awesome, so I may get a separate one now that I know how he goes together too. He was a little tricky, and I wanted to spend time like some of the like his face is multiple pieces, and there were some like I would kind of some awkward seams when you actually assemble him. And then I also think I'd probably not fully assemble him to do more of a display version of him because once he's fully assembled, it's kind of hard to reach into certain areas, especially in the face. So if I want to do a more, again, display version, I may want to consider buying the second one and doing sub assemblies as I paint it. But yeah, I think that's a great sculpt. So if you didn't get the box set and you want the star player, now you have that opportunity. Dice. Now this is where I kind of reverse course. I say I kind of OD on dice, but I don't think you can ever OD on Blood Bowl dice. I love these dice, especially since these tend to be the most difficult to get after the fact. These and Necromunda dice both tend to sell out rather quickly. So if you don't get them at pre-order time or shortly around that time, there's a good chance you'll miss out. And I think the color combination on these dice are pretty sweet. So we get the tactic packs as well. I never used to get these cards in the first version or the previous version of Blood Bowl, but now they kind of have some neutral cards that you can get with inducements as well that are specific to your team. So, and the league I play in allows these this time around. Previously, the tactics cards from the previous version, we didn't have, I guess no one used them in our league, so they just basically said they're not usable or we won't use them. But currently in our leagues, we're able to use these new ones, so I'll be picking these up. And then, as I mentioned, they'll have the new Imperial Nobility team available. I'll have a painting video on that coming as well. I don't know if you need to buy this if you want to customize your existing team, but again, that's up to you. I dig this model as well, not quite as much as the Black Orc star player, but as far as skills go, this is a bonkers. Like this is a really good star player. It's a little pricey, but good. And then I do like these dice quite a bit, so I shouldn't say I probably will get these. I've already pre-ordered these dice, so as well as the card packs for that team. Yeah, so that's it, I believe, for Blood Bowl. Again, more of the You get the refs separately. I might pick up another set of refs. They're pretty cool models. A lot of times I'll buy extra Blood Bowl models, not so much for team customization, but to use for like fans or cheerleaders or just random stuff for the pitch. Um, just for cosmetic reasons for my display table. So yeah, again, that's pretty much it for Blood Bowl. I do have a separate video where I kind of go more in depth into the sevens as well as Death Zone in general. And then as far as the rest of the pre-order now, this isn't for me, but for those that enjoy this game, as I understand it, this has been a pretty sought after, long awaited model. So it's a pretty sweet looking Titan for sure. And then they go into the new White Dwarf. I always pick up White Dwarfs, so this is like a no-brainer. I don't know why I don't subscribe. I think I just like to support my, local gaming stores, so my FLGS, if you will. So I tend to not get a subscription, but I always pick one up. Okay, so that was it for this last Saturday's pre-order. Writing below in the comments, I'd be curious to see what you're looking forward to. Like, what did you pre-order? What are you most excited about? Uh, have you been happy so far with these pre-orders? But as I said, that was it for this Saturday. Let's go ahead and jump into the previews for Sunday. So yeah, for Sunday's preview, we got some more information on Be'lakor. I thought his pre-order was last Saturday, but I could be wrong because they're previewing him again, which typically a Sunday preview means he's going to be available for pre-order the following week. So I may be a little off on that, but they go into a little bit more information on the model. Again, I'm not a huge AOS player, but I dig this model. Probably won't pre-order him right away, especially if he's already been available for pre-order from last week. I didn't get him yet, but I may just because he's a sweet model. It depends on if they have rules for him for Warcry, then I'll more than likely pick him up. What's really interesting, I just assumed he was for fantasy only. I don't know why I thought that, or for Age of Sigmar only, but this is interesting. They have a Primaris Adeptus Astartes Space Marine model there as well. So that's interesting. There it is. Yeah, he's got an option for both Age of Sigmar as well as 40k. Very cool. So if you're into Be'lakor and you play Age of Sigmar or 40k, you have options. So that might incentivize me to pick this model up no matter what. Very cool model. So the other thing we saw is these were previously we've previously seen these two models. I've talked about them. There was the big preview from a couple weeks ago, but these will be available for pre-order on next Saturday. So I'm really excited for these two. More so, I had a long spiel about Gardus here. I'm going to be swapping around the hammer and the sword, but regardless, I'm really excited for this model. The Krulghast Cruciator, which is a tongue twister, that's also a very cool looking model. I don't typically play Night Haunts in any of my games. I've been debating on making a Warcry warband with Night Haunts, so we'll see if there's rules for that and it makes sense. I may pick up that model just for that, or just for display painting purposes. But I'm really excited for Gardus Steel Soul. The name it's whatever, but I dig the sculpt. Just want to switch the weapons around. So we got 4 Warscroll Battalion boxes. That's very cool. So we have our Zeech Demon. I'm not a Zeech player, but I may get this just for the demons for Warcry. And then we have Slan. These are pretty cool. If you're a Slan player, of course. In fact, we had for our new mini or new model Monday, we got a new Slan model. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Now, these look like totally new sculpts with a few exceptions, but this is a very cool Night Haunt box. I may have to look at this further for conversion purposes, or kit bashing, as the kids call it these days. Your overlords here. So interesting box set. I'm not sure if this one's for me, but if you play this warband or army, then that could be a good a good option. And then if you're into Lord of the Rings, we got some Lord of the Rings stuff here. I don't play Lord of the Rings anymore. That being said, a manager at one of my local game stores here in town, he's like a total diehard Lord of the Rings player, or at least miniature buyer. So then, of course, Black Library books. And that was the preview for Sunday. Kind of a good mix. Again, these Battalion, Warscroll Battalion boxes might be a good buy. I can't say specifically, but I do like that Night Haunts Battalion box for sure. And then I may get this demon one just for the demons. Gardus will definitely be a pre-order for me on next Saturday. And I'm Be'lakor likely. All right, so that was it for our Sunday preview. What are you most excited about? Again, for me, it's Gardus Steel Hands, Steel Soul. I'm gonna switch his hands around. That's what I'm most excited for next Saturday. But I know most of my friends are pretty excited for Be'lakor, and that seems to be the talk of whenever I go into our Warhammer store. The folks that are in the store tend to talk about Be'lakor quite a bit. So that's it for now. Let's go ahead and get on to New Model Mondays. So for New Model Mondays, we actually had two new things. We had this Lord Kroak Returns, which is a hilarious name. Then we had some stuff for Sisters of Battle. So let's take a look at Lord Kroak first. I think this is technically the official new model for Monday, but let's take a look at that video right now. This is pretty awesome. Let me go ahead and mute that though, just in case. So I'm not technically a slam player at all. However, again, I like to use some of these models for other games. This I'd probably use as kind of like another like fan or someone in the crowds for my Blood Bowl display. So in fact, I think I used the old Slan model as like just a fan in the crowd. So yeah, very short video, but very cool. Okay, so Lord Kroak, again, that name's hilarious, but I mean, this is a pretty solid sculpt for sure. Yeah, I technically have a Lizards team. So specifically for my Lizards team, this may be part of like the cheerleader, maybe a coach model for him. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't even started working on my Lizards team, but I do have one. Awesome details. Really, really well done. So that was the new model, one of two new models that we saw for today for New Model Monday. Last week we saw two as well, the daughter and father witch hunters, which are awesome sculpts. I didn't do a video on that one. I probably won't at this point, but if you haven't yet, I encourage you to go back and take a look at last week's New Model Monday because the witch hunter models are sweet. All right, so the other new model is the Sisters of Battle. At least I'm like 99.9% sure this is a new model as well. I do not recall it. But they talk about the basically this is the new Battle Sister Bulletin is back. So I'm assuming this means every Monday, every couple of weeks, we'll get a new reveals for this Battle Sister Bulletin. So in this installment, we're looking at the new division of the Celestians, the fighting elite of the Orders Militant, known as the Celestian Sacresants. Okay, very cool. Sacresants traditionally act as bodyguards to the heads of their order, but they're also tasked with another holy duty, purging the impure and driving them from sites of sacred significance on the battlefield. I mean, that's what they all do, right? So, but yeah, they have one specifically for that now. No, but these are cool, like 40k halberd. I'm guessing that's like a power halberd. It's pretty sweet. I've always liked the aesthetics of the sisters. I don't play them, but they're very cool. Yeah, then it's like, oh, one thing for those that picked up the Piety and Pain box sets. Yeah, a very select few. No, it's sold out. So if you haven't got it yet, you're gonna probably have to go on Evil Bay to get that. But in any event, um, Piety and Pain. So we have, looks like they've really, the points, I didn't realize this, the points in the power rating for the Palatine were not in the rule book. Yikes. Well, here you go. All right. So if you got the Piety and Pain, you got your points now. But we're here for this new model preview. Great looking design. I dig the power halberd, and I like the shield. I think this, aesthetically, this fits perfect into any Sisters of Battle army or Adeptus Titanicus. So yeah, there you go. So that's it for the new models for Monday, both the Sisters of Battle model and the Slan or Slan, tomato, and then Lord Kroak. And then, as I mentioned, moving forward on every Monday now, I will do a recap of Pre-Order Saturday, Preview Sunday, and New Model Monday. I don't know why they didn't have the new model banner for Monday, if that's just not a thing anymore, or New Miniature Monday. Maybe that was confusing, so they're just like, we don't want to be limited or restricted by that. So we didn't see that banner on any of these two new previews for Monday, but it's Monday and it's new models, so we'll just assume it's New Model Monday. And yeah, so that's it. We'll do a little quick recap and talk to you soon. So yeah, what did you all think? We had the pre-order on Saturday, the preview on Sunday, and of course today actually had two models for New Model Monday. There was a lot of things to do a recap over. I think this format will hold out for a while, but if GW keeps adding new stuff all the time, I may have to change it again. But yeah, so for the pre-order this last Saturday, for me, I went ahead and I got into I got the Death Zone supplement and the Crimson Court and the new Warhammer Underworld starter set. Um, Again, there were other things as well. I'll be curious to hear what you all pre-ordered. So leave a comment below. What did you think of the pre-orders? Also for Sunday, the preview, Bellicor. I mean, awesome. That model is sweet. It's cool that we learned that not only do you get a fantasy-based model for Age of Sigmar, but you also get a 40k themed base as well, because he's a demon and he applies to both. It makes sense, but it's cool that they have those little treatments for the base, and I believe also the 40k one, he's got like Space Marine helmets and whatnot, and the chains as opposed to just skulls and whatnot. So that's cool. We saw the new Night Haunt model and the new Stormcast Eternal model. Yeah, that new Stormcast Eternal model, Gardus Steel Soul. I'm definitely getting that. So that's kind of on my top of my list for the pre-order for next week. And then those Warscroll Battalion boxes. Those are, I think, a pretty good value overall. Again, I'm not a huge Age of Sigmar player unless those models I can use for Warcry, but we'll see. I know the demons in particular, the Zeech demons, I can use those for Warcry. I can even use those for Kill Team. So yeah, there's that. Whenever I can get something that has value in terms of being able to be used for other games, then I usually tend to pull the trigger on those. And then the Night Haunt Battalion box also has some potential for kit bashing opportunities. There was a really cool thing posted, I think it was to the Necromunda Facebook page, where a guy took parts of a Night Haunt model along with Caldor models and customized his Caldor team to look even a little bit more ragged and interesting. So that kind of was some inspiration for me to maybe consider making some of those similar kit bash changes to my Caldor gang as well. And then, of course, if you're a Lord of the Rings player, there's some Lord of the Ring models that were previewed on Sunday as well. So yeah, some really good stuff overall. And then, of course, for New Model Monday, I'm not sure why they didn't have the banner again for those two new models, but we got that new Sisters of Battle model, and then we got Lord Kroak for the Slan or Slan. Very cool. I'm probably not going to get the Sisters of Battle model, but I definitely will get that Lord Kroak, likely just for something on the sidelines for my Blood Bowl team, whether it's going to be like a coach or an apothecary or a type of, fan for my lizard team. Yeah, I think that'll be some fun flavor for kind of a display piece for my Blood Bowl, my home Blood Bowl pitch, if you will. Oh, and before I forget, I did do a deep dive on the Blood Bowl Season 2 Death Zone, as well as the Crimson Court for Direchasm, and the Warhammer Underworlds new starter set. So if you haven't seen those videos yet, there should be a link somewhere, either on this video or in the description below. And yeah, I do a deep dive on each one of those. So if you're interested, definitely check those out. But yeah, thanks again for stopping by. I greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, please consider hitting that subscribe and notification bell for future content. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm, as well as sharing this video. And I hope everyone's safe. Take care. See you all again soon. Bye bye.